Now, State Farm is invested in teens, well, in all drivers, but specifically we want to talk about teen driver safety. How do you guys do that?
Sure. Well, State Farm, basically, we have 81 million policies out there serving America. So we have almost 18,000 agents and we have 70,000 employees. We have a lot of data. And we've discovered that the #1 cause of death, because you know, data comes from lots of statistics. #1 cause of death, unfortunately, for teen drivers is car crashes. So being the leader in the industry, we've also decided, we feel compelled to also be a leader in helping and figure out how can we break this cycle. So there's 4 times more likelihood for a teenager 16 to 19 to die in a crash fatality than any other age group. So it's just skyrocketing.
And you know, I think we all realize that because of the price of our insurance. You know, we see how the price drops as we get older.
Exactly.
You know, and I'm sure that has a lot to do with why.
Exactly. So, and when you have the data, you can figure that out, and absolutely.
So what are some things that you can offer as solutions to help this problem? You said you guys are leading in trying to combat this.
Sure, we have. Well, we've been working with the legislator often. The texting is a huge issue, and I saw your guest mentioned that as well. In fact, State Farm just led the last legislature session in Indiana trying to pass a bill to where it would be banned. We just passed it in Michigan, however it died, and it did not go through. So I'm sure we'll bring it back up again because it is a huge, huge issue. And it's not just texting anymore, you can even do Facebook on your cell phone. So it's just growing and it's going to become a bigger problem. So we're taking actions like that, but we have lots of grants available to youth groups as well to come up with their own programs and to reach out to their own age group and to figure this out. We have things like the Steer Clear programs, which, great, it's a 15% discount, but more than that, it has in here a log that you can go through and you basically watch your teen driver operate a vehicle, and it has discussion points because sometimes, just like talking about drugs, you don't know what to say. Maybe you don't know what to say relative to the driving, but it talks about feathering down your speed, all kinds of clues and discussion points for a parent, because really the parent is where this has to start and stop. There's a DVD in here, and at the end of it, you basically sign a contract between the parent, the teenager, and State Farm, and we'll let you keep that discount until age 25. That's just one program. We have teamed up with SAD, and we have the Seatbelt Convincer, where we take out to various programs. Just took it to one of the Fishers events myself not too long ago, and it's starting kids from a very young age, learning and developing the behaviors that will keep them safe in the long run. If we don't catch them young, we won't catch them later, and they're going to have incidents, and unfortunately some of them are fatalities. As a matter of fact, in 2007 there were almost 5,000 fatalities in the United States of kids. 4% less than the previous year. However, that's almost 13 kids a day that are dying, that are unnecessary. So, you know, as long as we can, and agents, I know in my own office, I ask every parent, I get goosebumps thinking about that. I ask every parent that has put a 16-year-old on, I've been an agent 18 years, I know those kids, come in, talk with me. I don't talk at the kids, I talk to both. The parent also has to model the right behavior for their teenager.
Right.
Wear a seatbelt, don't text, focus on the road, focus on the conditions. The majority of the time when a teenager has an accident is because there's also other kids in the vehicle. So State Farm led last year the graduated licensing program. It started last year, July of last year, and where they put some limits on new drivers, where you couldn't drive with anyone in the vehicle for a certain amount of time and things of that nature. And now we've fought and we've gotten the second half of it approved. And July 1, there's going to be some few little restrictions, like you can't get a permit. I think if you've had driver's ed, I think it's age 15 plus 187 days. Without driver's class, it's age 16 plus 187 days. The whole catch is, a lot of research has been done by State Farm, and a minimum of 50 hours of good driving instruction is really necessary to get the skills
Right.
to where you can reduce your fatality rate.
Right. Now, are you seeing that most teens are learning to drive through driver's education programs, or do you think they're mostly learning in parking lots and things like that with their parents?
You know what, I can't really answer that accurately, primarily because I think it depends on, obviously, the socioeconomic level, unfortunately, and it would be wonderful if everybody had the opportunity to have that driver's ed, because some people don't have the parent who's home or has the patience to teach them. That would be wonderful. If you want to help fatality, that's also a place where we can certainly go.
I love the fact that you mentioned modeling is so important between the parent and the teenager. Seatbelt usage, you know, I see where a lot of adults don't wear their seatbelt, but then they expect the children to.
Yes. Okay, I have to confess, my son, up to 3 years ago, every once in a while I would forget, and he was 8 years old, Mom, put your seatbelt on. So he shouldn't have to model me. So.
Do you see, I mean, I'm not sure, I know that there are several statistics out there, but could you just stress for anyone watching the importance of seatbelt usage? Because sometimes we just think it's something, you know, to do, but it really is important, isn't it?
It really is. We have people get ejected from vehicles unnecessarily, and of course when you're ejected, you don't die, you're going to be paralyzed for the rest of your life, high likelihood. I personally did that seatbelt convincer, and it only goes, I think, between 5 and 10 miles an hour, and somebody took pictures of me as I was going down it. It's just a short trip, but then you hit a bumper. And there's a picture of me where at the end, after I hit the bumper, I was so jolted that my facial expression is like, I couldn't believe it. So I can't imagine being 25, 45, 70 miles an hour and not having a seatbelt on. And if you don't die, your face, if you go through the windshield, your face, you're gonna have issues. And thank God, you know, sometimes teenagers are a little vain, so maybe we can go there when I have one-on-one conversations with them, and just however way I can reach out, that's what we all have to do, even as parents, whatever their hot points are, let them know that, so.
Also with texting and driving, you know, I just really want to hit these points hard because, and it is mostly the younger people. Adults do it too, you know, people who work from their cars.
Right.
But the texting in young people is so, it's an addiction almost.
It is, isn't it?
And your phone almost is like another appendage. And I, you know, have to confess, you know, I try to do it at red lights, you know, but still it really shouldn't be done at all. Could you kind of just hit that point again?
Well, you know, I was listening to the radio this morning as I was getting ready for work, and there was a female news broadcaster who just had a baby not too long ago. And they were talking about texting. And her comment was, when my baby's in the car, I don't do it. Totally devoid of logic. So you're willing to put everybody else at risk, but when the baby's there. Texting is no different. I heard you earlier ask about impairment. That impairs your driving. To look down, to look away for a second, and it's not just texting. I see adult friends talking on the phone. You had to look somewhere to dial a phone number. So I remember even myself years ago going to Wendy's, and I was sitting at a stop sign, and the car ahead of me I thought had gone, and all I did was just look down to take a bite out of my hamburger, and I rear-ended the girl in front of me. So it really does happen often, and the overcorrection, it takes a split second for your wheels to go just over the side of the road, and your car turns, your car flips, or you rear-end the person in front of you. It's just not necessary, and I loved how your previous guest said it's really not an accident.
I was just thinking about that.
Because it's not.
Right, it's preventable, it's avoidable.
Exactly. So it's really unnecessary, and it costs everybody money, you know. So not only is your health in jeopardy, your pocketbook is in jeopardy.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, we've got to close this out, but one last push just for the importance of insurance.
Sure.
And I guess you could speak on behalf of both guests, but just the importance of driving with insurance, and then we've got to go.
Oh, please drive with insurance, because I don't care how old you are. If I have a lot of times I have seniors say I'm on a fixed budget. Well, you're on a fixed budget, but you own your home probably, you have assets, and if you're involved in an accident, you don't have enough insurance, those things can be taken away from you. If you're young and you're making $20,000 a year, you have 40 years of income to protect. So protect it via a little bit a month, buy your insurance, or again, you'll be working the next 40 years and having somebody else garnish your wages.
Right. Excellent point. I'm really grateful for you being here to give us these tips.
Thank you for having me.
And I really hope that you guys were able to learn something. I learned something as far as driver safety and just the importance of remembering the little things to help us all avoid accidents.